Hey guys, Arik is here, your Russian coach. Thank you so much for being here. You're very lovely people. Sending you lots of love from Estonia. Please open your learning materials. For the new viewers, I just want to say that those lessons are for the thinking students who love history, philosophy, and other subjects, and who have at least basics of Russian. I'm trying to make it simple, but those materials are not so simple. They're aimed at native Russian speakers. So, for example, now we are reading this article, Церковный Раскол XVII Века, the church split of the 17th century. So please open your learning materials, or you can open the link below this video. But as I say every time, it's better to print it out so that you can underline and mark things and stuff like that. Now, in the article, we are starting today with this sentence, starting with судьба обоих лидеров. Yeah, and for the people who have just joined, I just want to give a brief summary of what we have been talking about so far. There was a reform in the 17th century in Russian Orthodox Church. The leader of the reform was Patriarch Nikon, and his main opponent was Protopop, which is archpriest, Avakum. Yeah, so that's really short summary, and we start today. We're starting from here. Судьба обоих лидеров церковного раскола, патриарха Никона и протопопа Авакума, сложилась незавидно. So, let's go over the vocabulary. Судьба means destiny. That's судьба. Обоих comes from оба, which is both. So, судьба обоих лидеров церковного раскола, the destiny of both leaders of the church split. Now, сложилась, that's a verb relating to судьба. It has several meanings, but here in this case it means happened or turned out to be. Or turned out, actually. Happened, turned out. Незавидно means like not the best way. Незавидно. Like in a bad way, basically. In a bad way, not in the best way. Why? Because what is завидовать? Завидовать means to envy. You know? Маша завидует Паше. Masha envies Pasha. Незавидно comes from the same root, but with не, which is negation. So незавидно means you wouldn't envy it. Basically, it means not in the best way. So now you will get all this sentence. Судьба обоих лидеров церковного раскола, патриарха Никона и протопопа Авакума, сложилась незавидно. The destiny of both leaders of the church split, Patriarch Nikon and the archpriest Avakum, happened not in the best way. Никоновская реформа, тем не менее, сформировала современные церковные традиции, оказала большое влияние на развитие российской культуры, унифицировала обряды. Тем не менее means however. So, Никоновская реформа, тем не менее, so the Nikon reform, however, сформировала means to form, obviously that comes from the same root. Современные, modern. Церковные традиции, so that's clear, right? Церковные means church. So when they say Никоновская реформа, тем не менее сформировала современные церковные традиции, we would translate that as the reform of Nikon, however, formed modern church tradition. Оказала большое влияние на развитие российской культуры. Now, please underline with one color, оказала влияние. So, you need You need a pen or a pencil of one of several colors when you approach these lessons, because sometimes you have expressions that are scattered all over the sentence. Like here, оказало влияние means had an effect. Оказало большое влияние. Why? Because влияние means effect or influence. Оказало in this case means had or created. But had is a good, so had a big, a great influence. That's a good translation here. So actually you need to underline оказало влияние на, because that is the expression, had an influence on something. In this case, развитие российской культуры. So what is развитие? Развитие means development, right? So оказало большое влияние на развитие российской культуры, had a big influence on the development of Russian culture. Унифицировала обряды. Do you remember what обряд was from the previous lesson? It was rite, R-I-T-E. So унифицировала обряды would be unified the rites. Now, listen to this whole sentence. Никоновская реформа, тем не менее, сформировала современные церковные традиции, оказала большое влияние на развитие российской культуры, унифицировала обряды. The reform of Nikon, however, formed the modern church rites, traditions, had big influence on the development of Russian culture, unified the rites. В 1971 году Русская православная церковь сняла со старообрядцев анафему, чтобы сделать шаги навстречу и преодолеть многовековое противостояние. So, what is happening here? В 1971 году Русская православная церковь, Russian Orthodox Church, сняла со старообрядцев, so старообрядцы, just reminding you, that's the old believers, those who did not accept the reform. Сняла со старообрядцев анафему. Anathema, in English that's anathema, and that's kind of a declaration that a person cannot have contact with the church. It's a kind of disconnection from that person or from that body of people. In other words, when the church bans a particular person or a particular group of people, bans them from any connection with the church. That's anathema. So sняла, in this case, means lifted. Therefore, сняла со старообрядцев анафему, it means this Russian Orthodox Church, like cancelled or lifted the anathema from the old believers. Чтобы сделать шаги навстречу. Чтобы, in order to, сделать, do. Like, сделать шаги, actually, it's an expression. It means make steps. Make steps. So, because шаг, that's step, right? So, сделать шаги навстречу would mean make steps one towards the other. Навстречу means one towards the other. You can underline it and you can write above that the meaning. Преодолеть means overcome. Многовековое, age long. Многовековое, because много means a lot. And вековое comes from век, which is like a century. So многовековое, that lasted many centuries, or in English we could say age long. Противостояние. Противостояние means confrontation or opposition. So we'll translate that as confrontation. So please see how it works all together here. В 1971 году Русская православная церковь сняла со старообрядцев анафему, чтобы сделать шаги навстречу и преодолеть многовековое противостояние. In 1971, Russian Orthodox Church lifted from the old believers the anathema in order to make steps one towards the other, навстречу, and overcome age-long confrontation. Okay, guys, so now I'm going to read everything that we have learned today, and you will see that you understand it much, much better now. Listen. Судьба обоих лидеров церковного раскола, патриарха Никона и протопопа Аввакума, сложилась незавидно. Никоновская реформа, тем не менее, сформировала современные церковные традиции, оказала большое влияние на развитие российской культуры, унифицировала обряды. В 1971 году Русская Православная Церковь сняла со старообрядцев анафему, чтобы сделать шаги навстречу и преодолеть многовековое противостояние. Okay, guys, so how do you feel? And we have finished this article, so congratulations. You finished another mini course in advanced Russian. And we're gonna start another very interesting article next time. I'll be waiting for you. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, please do. And if you have any friends to recommend the channel, you're welcome to do that so that these lessons spread among as many Russian learners as possible. Thank you so much. I love you and I wish you good health and good mood. Ciao, ciao.